Hi Plant Fam, welcome back to Shy Girl Plants. If you're brand new, my name is Cheyenne, and I am so glad you're here because in today's video, I very desperately need to catch up on some alocasia chores that I have been putting on the back burner. And since I'll be working on a good amount of my alocasias, I figured I might as well take you on a tour of my alocasia collection as well. So we're going to dive into that. I don't have nearly as many alocasia as I do Hoya. If you haven't checked out my complete Hoya collection tour, I will link that video up here somewhere so you can go back and check it out if you haven't done so already. But I'm excited to share this with you because alocasia and Hoya are my favorite plant families to propagate and to share. I was about to say that they're my favorite plant families, but that would be a lie because I love all my plants and I really can't just pick one plant family that's my favorite. Yeah, there's no way to do that. I love all of them, but they are my favorite to propagate. Hoya because they're vining and they have so many nodes and you can just snip away and propagate those. And alocasia because they produce corms, which I am obsessed with and I love growing corms. If you're new to alocasias and you don't know what corms are, they're basically these little seed-like growths, very small, and they grow at the base of the alocasia plant where the roots would grow, so in the soil or whatever substrate you're growing it in. And they would produce these little seed-like things, and we call them corms. Not corn like corn on the cob, but corm, C-O-R-M. And they will grow and produce a new alocasia plant. So if you leave them on there long enough, they can sprout and grow another alocasia plant, or you can harvest them as corms. Sometimes they fall off on their own, and then you can root those and get those started on their own, just like seeds, and they'll sprout and you'll have a brand new alocasia. So we have a full video ahead of us. I think we'll start with my biggest alocasia first, so that I could show you how tall they are. I will admit that I recently, within the last year, decreased my alocasia collection significantly. I grew very big alocasia, like half my size, and I'm 5'2", and they took up a lot of space in my small, puny one-bedroom apartment, and so I let a lot of those big mama plants go and just kept corms and regrew them from small babies. And there are some more common alocasias that I've gotten rid of completely to make way for some really cool variegated alocasia, which is still new to me. I am in no way, shape, or form a super rare alocasia collector. I have not gone that far down the rabbit hole yet, and also my wallet would scream to not spend that much money on, alocasias. There are some that are upwards of thousands of dollars, and we're not there yet. We're not there yet. But yeah, I'll start with the big ones first, and then we'll take a look at everything else I've got, and I'll tell you their stories and share what I love about them. And as we go along and you're watching this, if there's one that sticks out to you, if there's one that's on your wish list, or if there's one that you have and you love it, please drop your comments down below. I'd love to hear from you so that we can all grow together. I will also make sure to have timestamps in the description so you can hop around if you would like. So let's get started with these big mama plants that I have. So the first big mama alocasia that I have is a Alocasia heterophylla, also known as an Alocasia dragon's breath. And I believe it has that name because the shape of the leaf, as you can see here, looks like a dragon head, and it also looks like if the dragon were breathing fire or air, I guess, taking a breath. That's what it looks like. And so that's where they get their name. This is absolutely one of my favorite Hoyas, hence why she is so big, because I have grown her from a corm. And I think she's one of my oldest alocasias as well. I've harvested corms from this mama a couple of times. I've left her alone for a little while because she has been flowering as of late. It's thrown like back to back to back flowers. I'm definitely the type that will chop the flowers off of my alocasias. I am not at the point yet where I feel comfortable crossing alocasias. I've definitely done the research and read about it, but it's a complicated process and I'm not ready to do that yet. So I just cut the flowers off. Also, sometimes they're very stinky and I would just rather not have that in my house. So anyway, this is Heterophylla Dragon's Breath, one of my big mamas. Let me put her back. There you go, mama. Here's the next one. Ooh, she is tall. She's like half my size. So this is my hip here. So she's like already midway down my thigh. So she is half my size. This is an alocasia. I think it's called a pink dragon. At least that is how I purchased it. I got this from a local nursery to me called Green Thumb Nursery. And I got this as a tiny little 2-inch pot plant. And she has grown with me for a few years now. One of my oldest alocasias, this one is. And I've gotten corms from her and I've propagated those a few times. But this alocasia actually went dormant on me over the winter. Alocasia do go through dormancy where during the winter, or if they experience stress or shock, their leaves will die off. Not all the time. They may not necessarily die off, but they may not grow any more new leaves. They might just be stagnant for a little while. So in the case of this one, she just went through a good couple of months of no new growth. It felt like forever. She just stayed the same. And only now that we're getting into spring, she's starting to push out new growth. So this leaf right here is brand new. So this is the newest growth that she's pushed out, and the older, these other 3 have just kind of been chilling for a while. And we actually have a little baby that has sprouted here in the bottom, and I do see 2 more sprouts sticking out of the pond. So that's exciting. I'm sure there are corms in here to harvest, but since she just came back from not growing, I'm gonna leave her alone for a little while. Again, this is another alocasia whose leaf looks like a dragon head, and then she has pink, beautiful pink stems. Look at this girl, which is where pink dragon comes from, I think. And she is just awesome. Both my heterophylla and this one are in ambient conditions. They're just in my living room. And that's about it. They have some cheapy grow lights on them. Like I have these cheapy Amazon grow lights that are up here in this area. But I do have a standing Barina T10 light that I kind of aim on this one. And I have some other big plants over here in this area in my living room. And that's about it. She just hangs out in ambient condition, no cabinet or anything. And I love her. She's gorgeous. And I will be keeping these 2 big mamas. These are my only 2 big mama alocasias that I kept. All the other ones I've sold away because they took up too much of my space, but these are sentimental to me. They're my oldest, some of my oldest plants, and I just couldn't let these beautiful girls go. So there it is. So this next area where I keep my alocasias is actually, it's still the living room. Again, I live in a puny 1-bedroom apartment, okay? There's not some grandeur house to show you yet. One day I will have a mansion with a greenhouse and a sunny plant room. One day I will. But for now, we're still in my living room, and the next place that I have alocasia are here above my cabinets that I have in my living room. So the first one I have up here is an alocasia green unicorn. Look at how beautiful she is. So this one is actually new to me. I got this one recently, and I didn't know this one existed. So this is fairly new for me, but it is, oh my gosh, I have to look up what the cross is and I will put it here. I think it does have dragon scale in it, and whatever else it's crossed with creates that blue-green, like oil slick sheen on the leaves, kind of like a blue oil fern, if you've seen one of those before. It just has this really beautiful, shiny, oil slick sheen to the leaves, along with those dragon scale features with the texture and the veins. So this one's really fun to grow. This is the newest leaf that's popped out. The other 2 were original leaves. That's how I got it. I got it from Summer's Garden. That is a seller that I found on Facebook through the Plant Purge USA Facebook group. To be quite honest, nowadays I've been buying a lot more of my plants through Facebook plant groups or locally from reputable stores or at vendor markets that I also vend at. Not that I don't buy plants online from websites, because I definitely do that too. But lately I've just been more active in like the Facebook groups. But I guess disclaimer, when it comes to purchasing plants from a direct seller in a Facebook or some kind of social media setting, just be aware that there are scammers out there with anything nowadays, especially with like AI. There are so many scammers, and you just have to do your due diligence if you're going to purchase like that. Same thing goes for like if you're buying furniture or something from Facebook Marketplace or like OfferUp. I always ask the seller when I'm buying plants for other reviews that other purchasers have left for them. If they have an Etsy shop, I want to see their Etsy shop and I'll read their reviews there. I ask for photos and video of the plant so that I know it's not AI generated or pictures that they stole off the internet, because sometimes they do that as well. And I always ask a lot of questions. And if they're a reputable seller, they should feel comfortable answering those questions. And if it's getting a little shady or they're not answering questions or they're being vague, that should be a red flag. So if you're watching my videos and hearing where I get my plants from and being like, oh, okay, cool, I'm gonna go buy from Facebook or whatever, or maybe you just don't do that because you're not comfortable, that's totally valid. You just have to exercise due diligence. So that's my little 2 cents about that as I continue to share some of these plants that I've gotten from sellers on different Facebook groups. The next alocasia that I have out here is this one right here. This is an Alocasia variegated Wentii. Look how pretty she is. And so this one I got as a corm from my friends at Gemini Houseplants. They are the best. They're local to me and we trade plants all the time. And they always have the best plants. So I got this one as a corm, and it's been so fulfilling to watch this grow. This is one of my first variegated Alocasia that I got, if not the first one ever. I don't know if it's the first one, but it's definitely one of the first. So this was so exciting when the first leaves popped out. And like, look at this. This is one of the older original leaves, and like that half moon variegation on it is so exciting. And I know like variegated allocations are very much the trend right now, but like the super expensive ones, which I'm too scared to get into, because I'm not gonna drop like an arm and a leg for a plant and then it dies on me or something like that, but also because I'm not gonna go spend an arm and a leg for it. So this has just been fun to slowly get into variegated alocasias. So yeah, the next one I have that sits up here on top of my Rudsta is this beautiful Alocasia Blizzard. This is a mama plant, and she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 leaves right now. That's wild. So she's got 9 beautiful leaves, so bushy, so speckled and colorful. Look at that. The blizzard on her is so beautiful. And I have her growing in my little DIY self-watering deli container. I actually grow all of my alocasias in pon, in a semi-hydro setting. In my experience, alocasias absolutely love pon. Like, they just go wild for it. I mean, look at all the roots in here. It's doing extremely well. I don't know what it is about pon, but they just go wild, and I get crazy growth and upsize from them when I move them over to pon. I feel that alocasias are absolutely thirstier plants. They're on the thirstier side, and I think they would much rather have constant access to a water reservoir where they are in control of wicking up as much water as they need when they want it. And that has also lent to just them being a lot more happier. But I have no idea what it is about pon that makes alocasia just upsize like crazy. Like, this was actually a corm. So this is corm grown as well. I got these corms from a local friend, and she gave me 4 of these corms, Alocasia Blizzard. And this is where we're at, from a corm, you know? I'm just dripping water everywhere. So that's it for my alocasia that are outside and ambient. The rest of them I do keep in my cabinets here. So this is my Baggebo, and this one's the Rudsta. And quite honestly, yes, if they are variegated or rarer alocasia, I will keep them in a cabinet that has a little bit more controlled lighting and humidity and temperature. But honestly, another reason why I just keep most of them in there is because I don't want my cats to knock them over and mess with them. My cats are actually really good. I have plants all over the house and they're really good with them, and they don't munch on them or anything like that. But they do brush against them because they're cats and that's what they do. And I've definitely had some casualties from the cats rubbing up on stuff and knocking things over. So I try to keep as many of the more expensive plants in cabinets, just really to make sure that they're safe. But there are some that actually do want higher light and higher humidity, so I will keep them in there, and I'll tell you which ones those are. But really, my Baggebo cabinet, which is the little one here, that is the most controlled cabinet I have, and I typically use this cabinet for new propagations, for sprouting corms, like cuttings that I've taken and I'm rooting them out. Those smaller ones are going to be in here because this cabinet has the highest humidity and the highest temperature. Like right now it's sitting at 86% humidity and 80 degrees temperature. And I did like weather strip the Baggebo, and the Baggebo is the one that has like the mesh sides. So I like sealed them like with window shrink wrap to keep that controlled. But then all my other cabinets, I have 2 Mills bows and then this Rudsta, I did have them weather stripped. And I did have like the fans and the control in there, but honestly, like all the weather stripping fell off. Like it did not stick on, like over time it all fell off. And then the little fans, like I use like the USB plugins that you get really cheap off of Amazon. After a while, they got so dirty and like so clogged, and like there are some that you could like unscrew and remove the panels and clean it, but the ones that I had, like there was no option to take it apart and clean it. So it was just so dusty and gross, and it just blew dust everywhere that I didn't think, I was like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Plus I'm in my cabinets every day, multiple times a day, and I think that's plenty of airflow for them. Now, I'm not saying go and take off all your weather strip from your cabinets if that's your thing. You know, it's just what works for me, and all the plants are chilling. But again, that's just what works for me. Let's get into the alocasia that I have in my Baggebo because I have a really good amount in there, and some of my absolute favorites are in here, and my newer variegated ones are in here too. So let's get started with those. So right off the bat, the first one I have in here is a Amazonica Aria Splash, and this is from a Corm. So this is Corm Grown, and this is actually one that I need to do some alocasia care for. So I'm ready to move this girl over to Pon. So we're gonna take her out of Fluval. That is what I root my corms in, and she's gonna go into Pon. So I'm excited for that. And this is from Royal Roots Plant Co. And I will link everyone I mention in this video down below, so you can go and check them out too. So that's that one. The next one I have is a fairly newer one for me, and this is an Alocasia Dragon Scale Mint Variegated. Oh my gosh, so this is one of my very first rarer Alocasia purchases, and it is fairly new. This is from Rare Plant Fairy, and this is my first purchase from them as well. I mean, look at this. This is the newest leaf. It's just stunning. And then on top of it, my favorite part about Dragon Scale Alocasias is the back of the leaf. Oops. And the purple veining that comes out. It's just amazing. I love, 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 love Dragon Scale Alocasias. So we got the minty fresh color, but I also love these darker sectoral shades as well. So this one's a newer one. This one actually came to me in their soil mix, and I took it out of that and got it rooted. Look at those nudes, the root noodles. I got it acclimated in Fluval, so it's been here actually over a month, I think. And now I'm ready to move her over to Pon, so we'll be taking care of that. Next one that I have is Alocasia Ninja Albo Variegated, I believe that is what it's called. But this was actually one plant, and I got it as a tiny, tiny, like just sprouted corm from my friends at Gemini Houseplants. Again, see, they have the best plants, I'm telling you. And so this was all one plant, like in one cup, and they've grown now, and they actually were two plants. So I've separated them out, and I have 2, and I was planning to let go of this one. But the variegation on both of these is so very different that I can't I can't find the will to let them go. I mean, look at this one. It's got like minty green on the outer edges, then those like dark patches against like the white. So this one's almost giving tricolor vibes a little bit. And then this one is just showing like the white, not so much that minty, and a little bit less of that very dark green. So they look honestly like two different plants, and I just don't want to let them go. So most likely I'm going to keep both because they're beautiful. So I'm really proud of these because honestly, like it was such a tiny, tiny, tiny plant, and now I've got these two beauties. So these are growing in the Baggebo. Very quickly, this is another one of my DIY self-watering setups, and I apologize, there's lots of algae growth in here, but this is the inner pot, and it has a wicking system. It's the pink rope, and then and it's in pond as well. And then the bigger outer cup is just the cash pot, and so there's always a water reserve at the bottom. And this girl can wick up as much water as she needs when she wants it. So again, DIY. Buy some cups and experiment and see what works for you. The only downside to using like clear cups is the algae growth. It has something to do with the way that like the sun hits it, and being exposed openly to that produces algae from all the minerals and stuff from the pond. And then also because I use liquid fertilizer with every watering for all my plants. Right now I'm using Super Thrive, Foliage Pro, and silica. I include both of those in my watering. So algae growth is normal, it happens, and that is another reason why we flush pond regularly, like maybe once or twice a month. This one, obviously I have not done it in a little while, but yeah, so just, it's normal if you get some algae growth in there. The next one in here is another Alocasia Blizzard, and this is actually a corm that came from the big mama that I showed you that lives over here. And this one is in soil because she is going to find a new home at my next plant market that's coming up on Sunday, May 4th, called Plant Stock, which I'm super excited to be vending. It's my first time vending this market. But yeah, so this one's a little corm grown one. She's been living in the Baggebo and chilling. Next one I have in here, oh my goodness, is a pink mint poly. So this is similar to an Amazonica, but to my understanding, the polys are smaller and they don't grow big. They kind of stay petite sized, but this one is so beautiful. So this is the big newest leaf, and the upsize on this is pretty wild. So this is the original leaf. So I got her pretty small, and now we've had all this new growth come in. And so this is the second to last leaf, this pink one. And then we had a huge upsize with the newest leaf. So I don't know what it is about pond, I'm telling you, but they just upsize like crazy. But that pink mint is so pretty, and the back of the leaves have this beautiful, like, I don't know, texture to it. And yeah, it's just fascinating and beautiful, and I'm excited to have this little cutie in my collection. Plus any pink plants, pink stems are always fun. This next one is also from Royal Roots Plant Co. And I think it's my absolute favorite right now, and it is a dragon scale albo. Oh my goodness, this is the newest leaf that just came out, and it is so stunning. The variegation is beautiful. I love those chonky splashes of variegation, plus the texture of a dragon scale Alocasia. And like I said, the backs of those dragon scale leaves with the purple veining are just to die for. I love them. And then, yeah, like I'm just obsessed with this plant. I come and stare at it every day. And this one was actually a small plant like this, tiny little leaves. That's how I got it. And it actually had little corms that grew and sprouted in the main plant. And I actually ended up with 3 plants that grew from the plant that I got from Royal Roots Plant Co. And I separated them. I kept 2 plant sections. So I have this littler one. So this is one of the corms that sprouted from the main plant. And then this is the original plant that has grown quite big now. And then I have a 3rd little plant that's rooting for my plant show coming up. So this is one of my faves right now. The last Alocasia that I have in my Baggebo is the Alocasia Pink Black Velvet. This one is so cute and she's so bushy and she is literally bursting at the seams with corms. So this is definitely one that I need to do some work on. I need to harvest all of these crazy corms that are just popping out from the bottoms, and she is in desperate need of an upsize. All the roots are growing in the bottom. I have roots like popping out of the top of the pot there. Not sure if you can see them. So she will be taken care of today during my alocasia care, and I'll bring you along for that. So this one too. So the last of my alocasias. See, I told you, not nearly as many alocasia as I have Hoya, but the last of my alocasia are here in my Rudsta cabinet, and I think it's only 3 in here. But if you happen to catch my previous Hoya collection, I went over a bunch of the Hoyas that are in here. I have a variety of plants in here. I have Syngonium in here, Hoyas, yeah, just whatever would fit in here basically. So this one I have is an Alocasia Ontoro Velvet, which is such a stunning plant. So the Ontoro Velvet is called an Ontoro Velvet because the leaves are super fuzzy. And I honestly don't know if you can see it on there on the camera, but both sides of the leaves are super fuzzy. And the Ontoro Velvet is super dark, like almost black. I have my big light on right now, so you can see that the green in it, but these are really, really dark leaves, which I love. Any dark plant, honestly, is going to be a fave. And the backs of the leaves are actually this really dark, dark purple. And yeah, just a very cool and different plant. So that's very fun. I have that one in here. The next one is a little Alocasia Stingray in a different self-watering pot that I accumulated over time. So this one's from Amazon. But anyway, I have this little cutie Alocasia Stingray, and this is a corm grown one from an original mama plant that I had. I had a Stingray Alocasia that was as big as my pink dragon that I showed in the beginning, and she's one of the mama plants that I sold because she was so big and it was just too much. So I sold her but kept corms and grew it back. So I have this little Alocasia Stingray, which is a lot more manageable. And if she happens to grow big like her predecessor, I'll most likely keep her and not sell it. Then I have, awkwardly reaching behind me, then I have my Alocasia Aslanii, which is so cool because it's just the beautiful, shiny leaf with that very stark pink purple veining and that dragon scale or dragon looking leaf. So pretty. So pretty. Look at that. This one is actually flowering, and I actually forgot about this. So I'm going to cut this off because I really don't care for them. I just really don't. They also, the flowers on alocasias take up so much energy from the plant. So I would rather chop it off and redirect that energy to pushing new leaves and to the plant growing, because they will stop growth in order to take care of these inflows that pop out. So yeah, another fave, even though this is like a more common alocasia, I love it and I'll always have her in my collection. The Aslanii pink variegated is on my wish list, but that'll probably stay on the wish list for a long time. Then I have one of my all-time faves that I will always have in my collection, which is Alocasia caprea. Look at this big girl, the alien-looking Alocasia leaf. I have always had Alocasia caprea in my collection. I've had quite a few. And this one is a corm that was taken from one of my previous plants. And this is the newest leaf. I'm so sad. She got stuck when she was unfurling, but it's okay. She's still beautiful and she's still intact. So we'll let her keep growing as is. The caprea is so underrated, I think. These alien looking leaves are just fascinating. Look, I'm mesmerized by it in the viewfinder. But caprea is one of those that I'll always have in my collection. And of course, the caprea, what is it, pink variegated. Also a wish list plant, but again, that one's gonna stay on the wish list for a very long time. So I have this little Alocasia Jacqueline in here that absolutely hates me. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I actually think these don't go by Jacqueline anymore. They might go by Tanderosa? I'll put it here. But the Alocasia Jacqueline is one of those Alocasias that I hate her. I really don't care for her. I've had so many Alocasia Jacquelines. I think this is the third or the fourth one. And every single time, it's just been a headache to grow. She just does not want to grow. Like, they're also the world's biggest spider mite magnets. I kid you not. It doesn't matter how many times I treated Alocasia Jacqueline, like, spider mites always pop up. They are also like fuzzy, like not like the Antoro Velvet fuzzy, but they do have their own stiff fuzz, and I feel like that's just the perfect breeding ground for spider mites. But this one in particular just will not grow. Like, I've had this for what seems like forever, and she just will not grow. She just stays like this. I don't know. I've tried everything, fertilizer, moved her around, higher humidity, higher light, and she just stays like that. And honestly, my track record with Alocasia Jacqueline has just been horrible. Like, none of them have like done super well. Like, all my other Alocasias, I love them. Like, they just work with me, and I feel like I know how to grow them really well, and I haven't really had much issues. But Jacqueline, girl, me and you, I don't know, might just have to cut it off, you know what I'm saying? But the last Alocasia that I have in this cabinet is my Alocasia variegated Frydek, and she's so beautiful. And this is an original plant that I got years ago. I got her from the Green Escape on Etsy as a 2-inch starter plug. And this girl, she has been through it. She has been through it so many times. So I got this a couple years ago as a little tiny plug, and I moved her over to Pond, and she grew so great and upsized wonderfully. And she got so big that she was actually bigger than the pink dragon Alocasia that I have. She was in a 10, 11-inch self-watering pot, massive leaves, over like at least 12 inches long leaves, if not larger. And I had her over here in my living room. I have like tiered plant stands over here. And of course, the cats knocked her over off of one of the stands, and she took a tumble, and she broke off so many leaves. Most of her leaves were broken. It was heartbreaking. I was so upset. And so I cut back all the broken leaves, and I think she was left with like one leaf. And I just let her regrow, and she did. She came back with a vengeance. She grew back beautifully. This plant, her genetics has just been absolutely amazing. I mean, the variegation has always been crazy beautiful on this plant. So she grew back to all her glory. Huge, beautiful leaves. She was bushy and gorgeous. And then I had moved her because I didn't want the same mistake to happen. I didn't want the plant to get knocked over by the cats again. So I actually put her up here, above, up on top of the Rudsta, and kind of pushed her back because I was like, okay, the cats never go up there. They never jump up on the Rudsta at all. They leave those alone completely. But then in December, we got a third tuxedo, which is Felix, who you've seen on this channel. We adopted him. Of course, my Felix jumped up on the Rudsta, which my other two cats never would have done. But Felix jumped up there and knocked over this big beauty for a second time. And this time it was an even bigger fall. So the damage was awful. Like, all the leaves were broken. It was just literally everything was hanging on by a thread. So I ended up having to cut the whole top section of this plant off. And it was actually in the process of pushing out a new leaf. And so when I made the chop, I actually cut off like half of the leaf that was growing in because I didn't know that it was growing so much. And so this is the leaf that got chopped off when I had to do that surgical procedure on this plant. But you know what? Look at her. She's growing back again. She is so resilient. She's a fighter. And so here we are again, and she's gonna grow big and gorgeous just like the last time. Third time's a charm, right? So this is one of my favorites. I've had plenty of corms from her over the years, and since the last tumble in December, I've just let her be, and I'm just gonna let her grow. I'm not gonna try to harvest any corms from her because she just needs to fully recover from all that. So that's it for the Rudsta. The last bits that I will show you are some alocasias that I have from corm that are sprouted, and I'm actually going to move those over to, one of them I'm going to be keeping for myself, so I'm moving it over to pond, and the others are going to get moved over to my chunky soil mix because they're going to get sold at my upcoming plant market. But let's take a look at those. Okay, so the last couple of alocasias that I have to share with you are little seedlings. First, let me show you some corms, I guess. I have a couple of corms that I need to take care of in Alocasia Care Day today. They're little Alocasia Frydek corms. This one actually sprouted, so it desperately needs to get into some fluval. But I have this little tray with like a little bit of water that they've been in. So bad. So we're gonna put those into fluval. And then the other little alocasias that I have sprouted are these Alocasia Longiloba green on green. Variegated ones. You can kind of see the green on green here on this one a little bit. And then I am seeing a little bit of green on green coloring on some of these leaves. It's very hard to tell right now because they're still so little. But my plan is to keep this one. And then the rest I'm going to pot up and sell at my next plant market. And then I have some other little corms here that are just starting to sprout. And I have no idea what they are because I didn't label them. So they are a mystery until they fully sprout and I can see what they are. And we'll take care of those at a later date when they're a little bit further along. But this is how I prop my Alocasia corms. I just use these little seedling trays and put fluval stratum and then keep water in the bottom at all times and just keep them enclosed with a humidity dome, and they sit under Barina T5s. T5s? Yeah, T5s. And that's it, and I just let them do their thing. So we'll transfer these over tonight, and that's all I got. That is my Alocasia collection for you. It's very small compared to the Hoyas, but I love them nonetheless. As I mentioned, like throughout, I absolutely have more Alocasias on my wish list. I think the number one Alocasia that I really want and that I could see myself getting if I find the right plant is an Alocasia Black Velvet Gold, or I've heard it as Black Velvet Rose Gold, but it's basically the Aria variegated Black Velvet rather than the pink. I just really want that one really bad. So that would be the next one on the list that I would pull the plug on. Other than that, the other one that I would really love to have is an Alocasia Venom is high on the list. I think for that one, I will definitely have to get like a corm because buying a fully established plant would be so expensive. Plus, I actually like getting my Alocasias as corms first rather than established plants because it's just so much fun and fulfilling to watch them sprout and grow and see how they develop. Just like most of the Alocasias in my collection, I've grown from corm. So it's so accomplishing. There goes my cat running by. It's so accomplishing to have them grow so much. So yeah, those two are on top of the list. And if I were to find some corms of those, I would definitely get them. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Alocasia collection tour. I'm so glad that we got to hang out and talk plants all day and share our love for Alocasias together. If there is an Alocasia on your wish list or one that you think I should check out, definitely throw that down in the comments. I would love to learn more about other Alocasias that are out there and build my wish list as well. Any excuse to buy new plants is always a good excuse, if you ask me. I hope to have Alocasia Chores Day video out next week. It was all supposed to be one video, but then it ended up being really long. There's a lot of footage, so I'm going to split that up into two. So I'll probably post the Alocasia Chores video next week. And then I have a bunch of Hoya content coming your way. We're going to be sowing some Hoya seeds together, and I will show you from start to finish what my process is to grow Hoya from seed. I also plan to do a Hoya propagation video and show you my process and how that works. And if there's some other content that you would love to see from me, please throw that down in the comments as well. I would love to make content geared towards you and just continue to grow together. I am also on social media, so if you would love to stay up to date and see all the updates from all of my plants that I share, definitely follow me on Instagram. I post all my planty updates there. I'm also on TikTok, but I'm just getting into it. And honestly, it's more of like a fun and silly platform for me. I've thrown a couple of silly videos up there and would love to join you on those platforms as well. So I'll throw them up here and definitely join me there if you haven't already. And I guess that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!